Really? I've got over $3 million worth of books I bought in.
So, how do I look?
Like trash.
Gratitude. Bill Cosby is a serial rapist. I'm hopeful that his sentencing will reflect the magnitude of the damage and havoc that he's wreaked on the lives of many women.
What happened to The Cosby Show in 1984? Why did it officially end after so many successful seasons? What changed in the show's final season?
Personal work, but it wasn't the easiest situation, but we made it work.
Did the cast face any problems behind the scenes? Was there one big event that led to its ending? Let's look at what caused the show to finish and how it all came to a close. The Cosby Show was one of the most popular TV shows of the 1980s. First aired in 1984, the show made millions of people laugh and feel connected. It was about a family called the Huxtables. They lived in Brooklyn, New York, and showed what it was like to balance work, family, and love.
I'm bored.
Really? I've got over $3 million worth of books I bought in.
Cliff Huxtable, played by Bill Cosby, was the dad and a funny doctor. His wife, Claire, was a smart lawyer. They had 5 kids, and each had a different personality. The show wasn't just about parenting and marriage. It also touched on real issues like growing up, education, and respect. But it did this in a way that made people laugh. It inspired many viewers and gave hope to families who wanted to see something uplifting. The show was a huge success and ran for 8 seasons. It won many awards and is still considered one of the best sitcoms ever. It even helped open doors for other TV shows featuring Black families.
It's getting so I walk in the doctor's lounge, they say, uh-oh, here's Huxtable, and they...
However, behind the scenes, things were not as perfect as they seemed.
Mr. Cosby is charged with aggravated indecent assault.
After years of denial and claims that the encounter was consensual, Bill Cosby for the first time faces criminal charges for the alleged sexual assault of a Pennsylvania.
Over the years, several women accused Bill Cosby of serious misconduct, including during the time the show was being made. Some models who were invited to the tapings of the show later came forward with stories of Cosby making inappropriate advances toward them. One actress, Lily Bernard, accused him of sexual assault. In her lawsuit, Bernard says she met Cosby on the set of the show in 1990. He told her that he wanted to help her with her acting career. Cosby claimed he would treat her like his own daughter and warned her about the sexual pressures in Hollywood. He also promised her a bigger role on his show if she worked hard and followed his advice. But things took a dark turn. Bernard said that Cosby, during an acting exercise, grabbed her breasts without permission.
Gratitude. Bill Cosby is a serial rapist. I'm hopeful that his sentencing will reflect the magnitude of the damage and havoc that he's wreaked on the lives of many women.
She claims that in August 1990, Cosby invited her to the Trump Taj Mahal Casino in Atlantic City, telling her there would be a meeting with a producer to help her career. Instead, Bernard says Cosby drugged her and RA'd her. She began to feel sick after drinking something he gave her. She said she felt dizzy, weak, and even vomited before losing consciousness. When she woke up, she found Cosby undressing her and later found him on top of her, assaulting her. Bernard says she passed in and out of consciousness and woke up in a bathtub, unable to move. The next morning, she woke up naked in a bed. She says Cosby then threatened her, warning her not to tell anyone. He allegedly said he would ruin her career and make sure she never worked in Hollywood again. Bernard is suing Cosby for $125 million, claiming the attack caused her a lot of emotional, mental, and physical damage. She said, "I have waited a long time to be able to pursue my case in court, and I look forward to being heard and to hold Cosby accountable for what he did to me." She added that, although the attack happened many years ago, she still deals with the fear, pain, and shame every day.
So started some of the survivors, a couple of them started contacting me whom I didn't know. "I heard you're a victim, you have to come public." I'm like, no way, no way, no way, no way. And then finally found the courage to do it, and it was terrible.
There are other women who have spoken out too. One woman, Eden Turrell, said that Cosby pressured her into having and touched her inappropriately in a dressing room. Bill Cosby's case has been controversial for a long time. In 2005, documents from a civil lawsuit revealed that Cosby admitted to getting prescription drugs called Quaaludes to give to women he wanted to sleep with. However, Cosby never admitted to actually drugging anyone. Cosby and one of his accusers, Andrea Constand, settled a case in 2006, but the accusations and lawsuits continued. Many women like Bernard are speaking out because they want Cosby to be held responsible for what they say he did to them.
What?
I decided not to go to law school.
What do you mean?
Sabrina LaBeouf played Sandra Huxtable on the show. However, her experience on the show wasn't always smooth. She had some big issues with how her character was treated and with the producers of the show.
Sandra!
Sandra Ho!
Sandra!
Sandra was the oldest daughter in the Huxtable family, but compared to other characters, she didn't get much screen time. Sabrina felt frustrated by this. She had been on the show for 5 years, but she didn't think her role was showing her full potential as an actress. In fact, she felt like she was being cheated because she didn't get to do the kind of acting she was capable of. Sabrina said in an interview, "I feel cheated that 55 million people a week watch something that is not my best work." She was clearly unhappy with how things were going. Sabrina also wanted to do other projects, especially in theater, but there was a problem. She was still under contract with NBC for The Cosby Show, which meant she couldn't take on other acting roles without permission. She wanted to perform in a theater play called As You Like It, but her contract didn't allow her to do that. This created a lot of tension between Sabrina and the producers. They were unhappy with her desire to pursue theater, while Sabrina was upset because she felt stuck in a role that wasn't fulfilling.
Yeah, that's the one.
The one with 4 A's and a B last year?
Yes.
Things got worse when Sabrina was told to show up to work, even though her character wasn't in many episodes that season. She appeared in only 5 out of 25 episodes, and this didn't make sense to her. She told the Washington Post that she didn't understand why she had to be there if she wasn't going to be in the show. She said, "You can't tell me we want you here and be here for us if I am not going to work." Sabrina was frustrated, and it seemed like she felt trapped in a situation where she wasn't being used as much as she wanted.
So, how do I look?
Like trash.
Eventually, Bill Cosby, the star of the show, helped Sabrina work out a deal. With his support, Sabrina was able to take time off from the show to perform in As You Like It at the Folger Theater. This allowed her to balance her career in theater while still being a part of the show, though it was clear that the conflict had taken a toll on her relationship with the producers. Also on the set, there were whispers about favoritism. Some actors felt that certain cast members or guest stars were given special treatment. For example, some people believed that Bill Cosby had influence over who got the best dressing rooms in the most important roles. This left many wondering if Cosby was giving certain people an unfair advantage. One of the most famous examples of this was Lisa Bonet. She played Denise Huxtable on the show, but she had a tough time getting along with Bill Cosby. Bonet herself admitted that she never liked the energy that Cosby gave off. She didn't know about his criminal actions at the time, but she felt something was wrong. She described Cosby as having sinister shadow energy that couldn't be hidden.
Dollars. I want to buy it with the money in my savings account. I mean, since I've been so good at saving my money, I think I should be.
Bonet had a bit of a rebellious side too. She did things that raised eyebrows, like posing in nude photo shoots and taking on controversial roles. One of her most famous roles was in the film Angel Heart, where she had a scene that was both bloody and sexual. This scene caused the movie to get an X rating at first. Some people believe this made Bill Cosby unhappy with her. Bonet later said that she felt her actions may have led to her being moved from The Cosby Show to its spin-off, A Different World, a college-centered show. It's said that Cosby wasn't happy with Bonet's choices and felt that she wasn't acting like the typical TV star. For example, she showed up late to work and posed topless in a magazine. In fact, some say that she was sent to a different world as a way to distance her from the main cast. Bonet herself said that she didn't want to be on the show, but did it because the producers told her to. Though Cosby's actions off camera were a mystery to many, the tension between him and Bonet was well known. Bonet never publicly supported Cosby during his legal troubles. In fact, in 2018, she spoke out and said she had always felt there was something wrong with him. She added, "I don't need to say, I told you so. when talking about how she felt about him before the public knew about his crimes.
I'm bored.
Really? I've got over $3 million worth of books I bought in your room.
The Cosby Show was one of the most popular TV shows in the 1980s, but over time it has faced criticism for how it dealt with gender and class issues. Some episodes and themes are seen differently today, with certain scenes being questioned for how they represent social topics like gender roles. For example, there is an episode where Vanessa has a music audition that some viewers now see as showing deeper problems in the music industry, especially with how women are treated. A big reason people watch TV is to escape and be entertained, not to be reminded of or face difficult social problems. This idea is important when thinking about the show. Bill Cosby in an interview explained that he didn't like how other TV shows portrayed families, especially sitcoms. He didn't think they showed a true family image. According to Cosby, the problem wasn't about race, but about how children in shows were shown as being smarter than their parents. He felt this was not funny and sent a bad message about family values. He wanted The Cosby Show to represent families in a more responsible way.
Cliff, you know I'm not coming home until late.
Listen, I can handle it by myself.
On the topic of racism, critics like Ferguson and Downing say that The Cosby Show did not focus on it directly. Downing argues that while racism isn't really addressed, sexism is shown in some scenes. For example, in one episode, Theo refuses to learn how to cook, saying that his future girlfriend will take care of it. This reflects a traditional gender role that some people found outdated. Some critics have argued that The Cosby Show gave a false picture of the American dream. They believe the show made it seem like anyone, no matter their background, could easily achieve success. This idea supports a conservative view that discourages changes in society. The Huxtables, the family at the center of the show, did not represent the average African-American family. The show didn't show the real struggles of Black families, especially the economic differences between Black and white families. The Huxtables were rich and well-educated, living in an upper-middle-class world where racism didn't seem to exist.
Sandra!
Sandra Ho!
Sandra!
Downing also points out a scene where Theo's math teacher talks about her past jobs as a waitress and a taxi driver. She tells Theo that in America, if you work hard, you can achieve anything. This reflects the idea of the American dream. If you work hard enough, you can become successful. The problem is that this idea is not realistic for everyone, especially for people from lower income or minority backgrounds. Also, after the serious allegations of sexual assault against Cosby came to light, the show's image became much more complicated. Some people started asking if we should continue watching The Cosby Show, or if it's better to separate the art from the artist. In the docu-series We Need to Talk About Cosby, one question is raised that doesn't get a clear answer. Should we keep watching The Cosby Show now that we know about Cosby's alleged crimes? The show's legacy has been hard to define in recent years because of these allegations. Reruns were taken off TV in 2014 after the accusations. Many people still have mixed feelings about the show. Some believe that Black audiences, who are not all the same, can't always afford to stop watching a show that meant so much to them. The show gave many Black families something beautiful to watch and aspire to. For some, it's a reminder of better times, and they don't want to give that up just because of Cosby's actions. The Cosby Show showed two successful Black professionals raising their family in a loving home, which was a big deal for many people at the time. Comedian Guy Torrey said that it was important to show that Black people could succeed in the way the Huxtables did, even if the later allegations against Cosby are heartbreaking. Some experts believe that we shouldn't forget what The Cosby Show meant for Black people in America. Darnell Hunt, a professor at UCLA, said that the show is one of the most important in Black TV history. Not only did it feature successful Black professionals, but it also gave many Black writers their big break, helping them have successful careers in the entertainment industry. Jamie Masada, the owner of the Laugh Factory Comedy Club, believes the show still has value. He says there are many positive messages in the show, and it should stay on TV, even though Cosby's actions are unforgivable.
Mr. Cosby is charged with aggravated indecent assault.
After years of denial and claims that the encounter was consensual, Bill Cosby for the first time faces criminal charges for the alleged sexual assault of a Pennsylvania.
After The Cosby Show was taken off the air, Owens, like many others in the industry, was left without work. Jeffrey Owens, best known for playing Elvin Thibodeau on The Cosby Show, faced a lot of public judgment when it was discovered that he was working at Trader Joe's. Without reruns or residual payments, he had to find a way to make ends meet. This led him to take a job at the grocery store.
Doesn't it ever bother you that when you come home at night, there's not always a hot meal waiting for you?
The story became public when a shopper recognized him working at Trader Joe's and took a photo. The photo was shared with tabloids, and it quickly went viral. Owens later shared with Good Morning America that he was devastated when the pictures came out. He had been working at Trader Joe's for 15 months and didn't want people to think he wasn't pursuing his acting career just because he had a regular job. He explained, "I had been teaching, acting, directing for 30+ years. But it got to the point where, it just didn't add up enough." Owens worked hard to stay in the entertainment industry, and he needed a job that gave him some flexibility. But the way tabloids shamed him for having a side gig backfired. Instead of mocking him, many people in Hollywood showed support. Celebrities like Terry Crews and Chris Rankin spoke out, sharing their own experiences of doing jobs outside of their famous careers. Crews even admitted that after his time in the NFL, he worked sweeping floors, while Rankin revealed he worked at a restaurant after playing Percy Weasley in Harry Potter. It was clear to many that there was no shame in working to support yourself.
This.
Another cast member, Malcolm Jamal Warner, best known for playing Theo Huxtable on the show, didn't face any big problems while working on the show. Things were good during the series' run, but issues started after the show ended in 1992. In 1996, he starred in his own sitcom called Malcolm and Eddie, but this experience wasn't what he expected.
To it immediately, Governor. Get him out.
What?
Cut him goddamn loose.
That digger what hit me?
You won't keep your goddamn job? Then you do what I goddamn tell you to do when I goddamn tell you to do it. And I'm telling you to get him the goddamn...
In an interview with NPR, Warner described his time on Malcolm and Eddie as probably the 4 most miserable years of my life. Why was this? The main problem was a big difference in creative ideas. He had just finished working on The Cosby Show, a show known for its positive and forward-thinking portrayal of Black families. But when he joined Malcolm and Eddie, the tone was completely different. The show included many racial jokes and cliches, and its comedy felt very simple and not thoughtful. Warner shared on People TV's Couch Surfing that he often disagreed with everyone involved in the show, especially his co-star, Eddie Griffin. The two actors didn't see eye to eye on many things, especially the racial jokes that were used for laughs. Warner said, "There was so much fighting that I did on this show, with writers, producers, the studio. He felt the show had a vision that didn't match his own. But fans of the show never saw this behind-the-scenes drama. On screen, Warner and Griffin acted as though everything was fine, but in reality, there were many struggles." Keisha Knight Pulliam, who played Rudy Huxtable on the show, also went through tough times after the show ended. In 2016, she opened up about her painful divorce from former NFL player Ed Hartwell. The couple had only been married for 7 months when Pulliam found out she was pregnant. Just days after the announcement, Hartwell filed for divorce. Even more shocking, he asked Pulliam to take a paternity test. Things only got worse after that. Pulliam later revealed that Hartwell had been living with another woman who was also pregnant with his child. But the worst part came when Pulliam said Hartwell did things that could have harmed her pregnancy. She didn't explain exactly what he did, but she felt unsafe because Hartwell owned many guns. Eventually, after a long legal battle, Hartwell admitted in court that he was the father of Pulliam's child. The court then gave Pulliam full custody of their daughter.
Personal work, but it wasn't the easiest situation, but we made it work.
Malcolm Jamal Warner and Michelle Thomas had a relationship that started on The Cosby Show and became something even more special off-screen. In the show, Michelle played Justine Phillips, the girlfriend of Malcolm's character, Theo Huxtable. The two had a sweet romance on TV, and it quickly became clear that their bond was real in real life too. The tabloids loved it. Young, cute stars who seemed to be perfect for each other. But like many relationships between co-stars, theirs came to an end. Despite their breakup, the love they had for each other didn't disappear. In 1998, Michelle Thomas was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer and she was fighting hard against it. Malcolm Jamal Warner, even though they had split up by then, couldn't stay away. He flew across the country to be by her side when she was nearing the end of her life. Malcolm recalls a special moment when he visited Michelle. She had always joked with him about saying, "elephant juice," which sounded like "I love you." It was their way of saying they cared, and it became something they often said to each other. When he saw her one last time, he said, "elephant juice," just like old times. She smiled and said it back to him. Sadly, Michelle passed away the very next morning, just 2 days before Christmas. She was only 30 years old. Malcolm was heartbroken, but he stayed close to Michelle's family, especially her mother, Findra Thomas, after Michelle's death. This tragic end to Michelle's life wasn't the only drama to come from the Cosby Show cast. Stacey Dash, who made a brief appearance on the show, went on to star in Clueless. But in 2019, Dash made headlines for a different reason. She was arrested for battery after an argument with her husband, Jeffrey Marty, escalated to a point where police had to get involved. Stacey's claims were contradicted, and though she said her husband started the fight, the police arrested her when they found scratches on his arms. This was a far cry from the wholesome image that the Cosby Show had worked so hard to build. Another cast member, Nicole Rochelle, who had 2 roles on the show, made news for protesting in a very bold way. In 2018, during Bill Cosby's sexual assault trial, Nicole staged a nude protest, writing the names of Cosby's victims on her body. She even jumped over a barricade during the trial. She said it was important for people to remember that Cosby was not the victim in this situation, but the women he had hurt. Nicole was arrested for disorderly conduct, but she believed her actions were needed to get people to focus on the real issue. These events show that the world of the Cosby Show wasn't always as perfect as it seemed on screen. Behind the smiles and laughter, the cast members had their own struggles and painful moments.